Hi, I'm Lisa Finaldi with the North Carolina Early Childhood Foundation. Today we're going to be talking about how small businesses can emerge from COVID with a strategic advantage through the use of family-friendly workplaces. So just to tell you a little bit about Family Forward, we've been working for 3 years with businesses across North Carolina to engage them about how the use of family-friendly benefits can not only support their business as they will become more competitive, will also increase workplace productivity, recruit and retain the best talent in North Carolina, but also support their workforce and, most importantly, the health and well-being of young children, recalling that they are our future workforce. So just take a few minutes here to think about what word best describes the impact on your business as a result of COVID. You can just jot it down in your notebook or wherever you're working from. So our Family Forward North Carolina program has made some adjustments as a result of COVID-19. We now have a program that we launched this summer called Rapid Response. And this program can help businesses emerge from COVID with that strategic advantage that I mentioned before. It also can bring your employees back to work more quickly and more fully, meaning that they will be more present because some of the stresses of their family's challenges have been reduced or changed because of your support. And will also help you think about how you can establish a culture of resilience in order to retract and maintain that talent, not just during COVID, but in the future. Now, right now, you know that more than ever, your business is all about your people. And we have 3 areas where we see employees have emerging needs. They include childcare, access to paid leave, and also schedules. So if we look at childcare in North Carolina, before COVID, the situation was already difficult for parents. 99 of our counties were considered and still are considered childcare deserts. Means that very few slots are open for families to find affordable and quality care. Paid leave, you've probably noticed there's been some increase in the use of paid leave, the government level, and also with some private businesses. And during COVID, we know that sick leave is especially important to have that paid. But most importantly for children, when parents have an opportunity to bond in the early months with their child, the benefits are for a lifetime with that family. And then scheduling, we know you know about that. Right now, flexibility and scheduling is causing a lot of heartaches for businesses and parents. And we also see what happens when these needs are not met by an employer. Those scheduling requirements can cause parents to be late, be absent. They may opt out of working. Lately, we've seen a lot of data around women dropping out of work. And before COVID, some parents were also dropping out of work, making financial choices because they had to, because of the cost of childcare, which over their lifetime could impact their family's economic mobility. And for you, you can't really afford the high cost of turnover. We've looked at childcare, and the cost of turnover can be reduced between 37 and 60% if you're able to support your employees with childcare opportunities. We'll also look at the future workforce. So the millennials now make up 35% of our workforce, and they do value more of a life-work balance than maybe baby boomers have in the past. They're also looking for more flexibility in their schedule. They're willing to look at these benefits and these options for flexibility to be as important as their paycheck. And these benefits can really address turnover in our workforce, especially moving forward. So our rapid response program looks like this. We've created a 3-part webinar series with a companion return to work kit Our focus has been on small businesses as well as the hospitality and the manufacturing industry. The program, which is self-guided, will show you how you can evaluate, reflect on what are you able to offer your workers, what about the culture of your business, what could be some possibilities moving forward that are creative or you hadn't thought about them in the past. And then as a result of going through the program, you'll also have the opportunity to apply for direct support with our Performerter team, who we'll tell you about in a minute. So here's the team that you'll be working with. Amy Rawls, who's on our program today, she has worked with businesses across the country, looking at workplace culture and how that impacts the family-friendly part of your workplace, and also looking at the needs and the constraints of your business in order to get to a place where you can offer more benefits. Amanda is our behavior analyst, and Jim has more than 25 years of experience in hospitality. And so for hospitality businesses, he would be working with you. So now I'm going to turn it over to Amy to tell you a little bit more about our rapid response program.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm pleased to be here today. And again, as Lisa mentioned, we'll be talking now about how you might use family-friendly practices in your workplace to emerge from this crisis stronger than ever. Wanted to start by talking through the cost of turnover. As we know, many workers are choosing to opt out of work right now because of the increased demands in their lives. And the cost of turnover is something you would like to avoid if possible. When you lose an employee due to these burdens that they're facing today, it could cost from 6 to 9 months of their salary. As Lisa also mentioned, paid leave and other family-friendly benefits can really reduce the amount of turnover you're going to see even in these tumultuous times. And the cost of some of these benefits may surprise you, and they will certainly look better to you than the cost of turnover itself. So for example, if you choose to implement a paid time off program with paid leave, especially for sick leave right now is so important, that might average somewhere between $1.98 an hour and might roughly equate to about 7% of that employee's total compensation. So when you compare that to the turnover cost of 6 to 9 months of their salary, the bottom line is the turnover is going to cost you more than offering that benefit. We want to build better teams, and we want to do that so that we can have a sustainable business that carries forward successfully, not only during these difficult times, but well into the future. And by reducing that turnover cost, as we just discussed, you can reinvest that cost into bettering the lives of your team. So a few tips on how you might be able to do that include really looking at how you might execute the implementation of some specific benefits. And we'll talk through some examples throughout this session. You want to create family-friendly benefits because we know that attracts the best talent, and it builds loyalty once they're there so that you can retain them longer. You'll also get a group of people that wants to work for you, your company specifically, not just looking for any job. There are going to be times, especially now, when a great worker may need a reduced or part-time schedule. And we really encourage you to try to accommodate that whenever possible, again, so you can retain that great talent you've already invested in. And finally, we're going to help you to see the benefit in exploring additional family-friendly benefits that maybe you haven't thought about yet or you haven't been able to really consider deeply, that may help you to support those who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So as Lisa mentioned, we have emerging needs that are currently not being met, or at least not being met across the board. And so the reason we encourage employers to do what they can to start meeting some of these emerging needs that your team has is that you can create a great workplace culture where people feel like they've been taken care of, that their psychological safety is a priority for the business. And this comes through supportive HR practices that are family friendly. We want to focus on the employee's organizational fit, meaning they're jiving with that culture, they're a great fit, they believe in the mission, and they like what you have to offer them. This goes well beyond just the job fit or the skills, capabilities, and knowledge that someone needs to do the job itself. You also want to invest in training and developing your people. This helps folks to feel like you're investing in them, that they have a place in this organization, and therefore this combined with that fit you're looking for will provide a sense that they belong. And that is so important, and especially when facing difficulties outside the workplace. Along with that training and development, whenever possible and whenever it's the right thing for the business, we want to provide opportunities for advancement for our current team. Sometimes we have to look outside our organization to find the right talent, but oftentimes if we can provide those advancement opportunities within the company for our current employees, it really goes a long way again to creating this safety and this sense of belonging that people want. And again, we want to be seen as whole people with priorities inside and outside of the workplace. And so if we can create flexibility and creative solutions for people so that they can get back to work, that will go a long way as well. And this will often, at least for now, include thinking through our flexibility and what we're able to offer people. We also want to make sure that we're taking care of people to the extent it's appropriate with supporting their well-being and providing additional benefits to see to their health and welfare. So we can start by looking at how competitive is our health and well-being benefits package and see if there is a way we can invest in new things or in deepening what we currently have. We can get a little creative and think about new things like, hey, can we offer that great benefit to our part-time folks? Or is there another benefit that we could offer, maybe even temporarily to get through COVID-19 because it's specific to those challenges? And then again, we want to continue to think about not only the challenges COVID-19 has revealed to us that are here for a short amount of time, but those that may linger on with us. And so committing to keeping those positive changes even beyond the crisis itself so that we can continue to improve the workplace culture and create that support that employees want for both themselves and their families. And this is how we create sustainability, not just for our employees, but for our business. So we're going to walk through a few of the family-friendly benefits that are really well outlined in the Family Forward North Carolina materials. So we're just going to walk through them, give a couple brief examples, and give you a moment to reflect on them. So paid leave. Paid leave is so critical right now. It is so critical so that we don't have folks who feel like they have to make a choice between maybe coming to work sick or foregoing their paycheck. So this is critical to have paid leave that covers sick time. And in addition to that, we also encourage paid leave that covers parental leave, family leave, emergency leave. Flexible work, we've talked about that a little bit already, but right now is the time to be flexible. I think there is a lot to discover about how we can really focus on results versus time or place of work. So I would say if you're able to get flexible in terms of when and where your people are doing their work, they're going to enjoy the benefit of that right now, especially when they have so many additional responsibilities outside of work and within their home. Sometimes we just need to scale the work back, but we don't want to opt out entirely. And so for those folks on your team who are raising that flag saying, I can do it, but I can't do it all right now, there may be an opportunity to go to a part-time schedule. And I really encourage you to explore that with folks that are maybe on the fence and think they might have to leave the workforce entirely or at least temporarily. Maybe there's a part-time schedule solution there that can keep them engaged, contributing, and also give them the room they need to take care of their family life. We talked again about health and wellness benefits, but these are worth really looking at, maybe partnering with our team or with a benefits broker and see what you might not know that you could offer in a way that's feasible for your business and that will help maintain health and well-being through this time where we know it's very important. Lisa mentioned childcare supports. This is critical. Most of our children are not in school right now. Many of our youngest children are not in a stable childcare situation. And so anything that you can do to support access to resources for stipends for childcare supports will help you retain your people. There's literally no question about that. And finally, we are losing so many women from the workforce, particularly mothers. And it's so important to create a culture where women especially know they will be taken care of around the birth or the welcoming of a new child into their family and when they're pregnant. And so I really think that this has always been important, but now it's more important than ever because we have to think specifically about how to retain women in the workforce. So again, if you have a piece of paper handy or a notebook, please take a moment and just identify 2 of these general areas where you think you could make a big impact for your team by really thinking about how you could bring these benefits into your company. And you can either jot that down real quick or plop that in the chat box. All right. So I'm going to go through now 3 ways that you can support a right size, right fit team. And this will give you a competitive advantage. So that right size team means that you've got the right number of people doing the work at the right time. So again, we're coming back to kind of staffing options. Some businesses just are not as busy as they used to be. That's a reality of this pandemic. However, getting creative about how can we create new scheduling options or part-time work or having people work off-site or 4-day work weeks, whatever that looks like that is in balance for your company, it's worth exploring. There may be job sharing opportunities. You might find 2 people are having those extra burdens at home and they want time to commit to those additional duties that they have. And they might be a great partner to someone in a similar role where they have the same issue. Offer paid time off, as we've discussed, and also please consider offering that at a prorated basis for your part-time folks, especially sick leave. This is not a time we want people coming into the workplace sick. And finally, again, think about how you might be able to provide those supports for parents and caregivers. Sometimes our caregiving is not for our children, and it may be for a spouse, a partner, a parent. So again, broadening your perspective is helpful. Want to talk a little bit specifically about offering benefits to part-time workers. We know a huge percentage of the workforce has been impacted during this pandemic with either job loss or reduced work. So we know we have a lot more part-time workers in the workforce. And so this is a time where more than ever, we need benefits, we need insurance, we need support finding childcare, we need time off. So in this time in particular, if your business can afford it, it is time to think about how to offer these benefits to part-time workers if you haven't already. You'll also be building that loyalty and that engagement with a team that you may need to bring back full-time in another 6 or 12 months or so. So again, you can think about prorating your paid leave. You can think about offering kind of a scaled back version of your full healthcare plan, like maybe it's just accident and catastrophic, or telemedicine visits and an employee assistance program where they get their basic needs met at a lower cost to you. And then again, we can extend wellness benefits and programs fairly simply to a part-time workforce. Here are some of the benefits of flexible scheduling. For employers, we're getting increased productivity, increased retention. Because we have a schedule that works for people, we get reduced absenteeism. We've already talked about how this can lower the cost of turnover. If people have the flexibility they leave, we know they're a lot less likely to leave or to start looking for a new job, especially for that millennial generation we've talked about. It increases loyalty and it builds your employee engagement and your brand. And then for the employee, they're able to plan for childcare or maybe their transportation needs. They're able to feel a little bit of breathing room, right? It reduces their stress, especially for parents who are burning the wick at both ends these days. And it improves the workers' ability to care for their children, whether it's struggles with school, whether it's the child is sick and needs the love and the nurturing of their parent. And again, one of our goals is to create nurturing and growth and a runway for our future workforce. Here are some of the examples of the benefits of paid sick leave. Again, for employers, we see that it reduces turnover costs and absenteeism. So this is a theme, if you haven't picked up on that already. It creates a healthier work environment and a positive culture, and it improves productivity. And on the employee side, what they're going to feel is encouragement to use the benefits they have. So preventive health care, they'll go see the doctor when they are sick, or at least take the time they need to recover and rest. This leads to quicker recovery time, both for an employee who might be ill and for a child who now maybe they're able to stay home with and help them recover and get the rest and the care that they need to recover faster. And again, in the workplace itself, allowing people to stay home when they're sick with pay means you're going to have a lot less chance of people getting sick at work. We have a couple case studies to walk through pretty quickly about wonderful North Carolina employers who've been able to really move the needle on the family friendliness of their organization. So first we have Our Riveter. It's a handbag manufacturing business here in North Carolina. It's headquartered in Moore County. And really one of their missions was to figure out how to create flexible work for military spouses and partners who are so busy moving around and maybe have difficulty holding stable work. So that was one of their core missions. And as a result, they really worked in family-friendly benefits and flexible work straight into their workplace culture. And so a few examples of the things they've been able to do are offer sick family and military leave that is all paid. And they have encouraged work from home, telecommuting, and flexible scheduling, even in a manufacturing environment. They're really, really innovative in that way. And I think they are a great example of how you can take an industry standard and challenge it a little bit and find ways to create opportunities for flexible and family-friendly work. And the next example we have is Lulu Press, again, another great North Carolina employer, headquartered in Morrisville and home to 65 employees. And what they've really focused on that I'd like to highlight is their ability to support caregivers. And so they have done this through a combination of great benefits to support those caregivers, but also workplace flexibility. And even though most folks need to be on site, they have identified core hours. Everyone's there 10 to 4, or everyone's on 10 to 4. But outside of that, you have the flexibility you need to create the schedule that works for you and for your family and the other responsibilities that you have. And so this creates a culture where people are just, open and welcoming to these needs that people have. And, it creates the right culture for people to be able to give their all at work and give their all at home. And again, they have a generous PTO policy, which is a paid time off policy, to cover those sorts of absences and other responsibilities. We're talking a lot about very specific things, but if we zoom out, we know that family-friendly workplaces will drive prosperity and recovery from this pandemic for our entire state, the entire state of North Carolina. And the reason that's true is because for employees, for their families, for our communities, and for the entire state, these are the tools we need to drive prosperity. It builds resilience and competitive businesses here in North Carolina. It creates prosperous communities and families in our state. It does support the healthy development of our children who now have more time and resources coming from their parents to help them grow and develop into their full potential. And therefore, we're ensuring that our future workforce has the foundation they need for both academic and career success when that day comes. So I'd like to now turn it back over to Lisa to conclude our program for today.
Thank you, Amy. We're just going to take a few minutes to wrap it up, and thought you might have some initial reactions to our rapid response program. So you can just jot them down so that we can be in touch later. So just as a reminder, by participating in the rapid response program, of which this is program 1, you will receive our return to work kit as well as the pre-recorded webinars, numbers 2 and 3. Our focus has been on small businesses today. We also have programs for hospitality and manufacturing. And also, it will provide you an opportunity to apply for no-cost coaching and consulting with our team at Performerter. And only a limited number of businesses will have access to this support, so we do encourage you to apply soon. This is just a little bit about what our return to work kit looks like. You'll see not only is there specificity around different business areas, but also some reflections. What is your culture now? What are you offering now? Some other tools about how you might be able to move forward with this idea of offering more family-friendly workplace benefits. If you'd like to sign up for our newsletter, which comes every other week, as well as see the guide to family-forward workplaces, the guide shows you 16 different benefits that can be used in your workplace to support your business as well as your employees and their children. And also specifically the URL for this one-on-one support is familyforwardnc.com/return to work. We also just want to take a minute to thank our sponsors at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the North Carolina Institute of Medicine, and our partners in the Rapid Response Program, including the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina and Visit North Carolina. And on behalf of the North Carolina Early Childhood Foundation, our Family Forward North Carolina initiative, and the folks that we're partnering with at Performerter, we thank you for taking the time with us today, and we look forward to working with you in the future.